Fancy meet computers. Welcome to Computer Science 1MD3 Introduction to Computer Programming. Glad to see you all here today. We're going to have fun this semester. I hope everybody has prepared their computers for all of the amazingness that is currently being streamed to them. Yeah, how y'all doing? How is everybody? I see everybody's kind of found the chat feature, most of you already anyway. Concurrent viewers 46. I don't believe you. I think it's higher than that. Normally it's higher than that. Cool. So, yeah. Greetings. Greetings and good day. Aha, there we go. Seeing how long the latency is. Yeah, there we go. Yours says 112. I don't know what that means. Okay. So, how's the quality? How's the audio quality? Is it using the right? Yeah, it's using the condenser mic. Okay. Okay, good. This course is a 5%. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I was having some trouble with my condenser mic last semester. Some of the more astute of you may have noticed already that the operating system that I'm using is not a Windows operating system. It is Linux. And the thing that you get when you have Linux is occasional driver difficulty, which you then kind of just wait and hope and pray that firmware update fixes. And I did, at some point over the last, month or so, get a firmware update that fixed my microphone, but then I had to, I didn't realize I had to go into, the sub-settings and, go into, the driver options and, re-enable, unmute it. So I thought my mic wasn't working, but it was. But anyway, good. Looks like everybody's doing good today. Wonderful. 115 viewers. That's pretty awesome. So, don't bore us. Get to the chorus. This is Computer Science 1MD3. It's wonderful that you've all found the link on Avenue from the announcements feed. So, my name is Mr. Nicholas Moore. I will be your professor/instructor this semester. I've been around for a long time. This will be, I think, my 8th time teaching this course consecutively, so no excuses for me. I should know how to do this by now. If anybody is interested in looking at my office hours, I have office hours Wednesdays from 3:30 to 4:30, pardon me. Depending on whether or not things are in person or not, I will either be in ITB 102 or on MS Teams. For those of you who have not yet found the MS Teams page, it's in the link of important websites, I believe. Yep, there it is. The link is long, so I didn't include the URL. It's just a clickable link. But yeah, so that's me. There we go. We've got a team of 5 TAs this semester, at least one of whom I saw in the chat. David, you may see David is a mod in the chat. That's because he's a TA. It is a visual distinguishment of him and his status as a TA. We also have Mark, Sarth, Meriddle, and Manav, who are all experienced TAs, so this is possibly the best TA team I have ever worked with, so I'm pleased as punch to be working with all these guys again. But yeah, anybody on the team is extremely knowledgeable about the course, so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of the TAs or myself. We like to have a friendly atmosphere. We like to imagine ourselves approachable, so if you have a question, please ask it. We do have specific channels for questions to be asked, if that makes you more comfortable. So, let's go through the important websites. So, you found the channel. right? Well, you found the live stream anyway. If you take a look at my YouTube channel, this is where I'm going to be posting all of the lecture stuff, not just the live streamed lectures, but also once we're back into in-person format, we're going to be recording the lectures this semester. Quality may not be fantastic, but we'll see how it goes. I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be watchable. I'm just going for watchable, really. But we're going to be uploading the lecture content to the YouTube channel as well this semester. So if you want to get updated on when the lectures get uploaded and that sort of thing, if you can't make it into class for whatever reason, I highly, highly recommend subscribing to the channel now. I would highly appreciate it. Actually, I'm within like 100 subscriptions of being able to monetize my old videos, so I'm very excited to see if this semester we can push it over the top. Sir, I'm skipping my class to see yours. Wow. My goodness. Don't skip class. The professor of this class does not endorse the skipping of other classes to view this one. What are the nature of the lectures? Well, it's very simple. I talk about stuff and then you learn. Bing, bang, boom. There are slides and stuff. So, Avenue. We've got lecture slides, gradebook, additional information, and this document. Generally speaking, whenever there are whenever there are important updates or announcements that have to be made, the Avenue announcements feed is like your first stop shop for the that's where all the important announcements are going to be posted. So please pay attention to the Avenue announcements feed. Yeah. Yes, please. Thank you. And don't forget to like. Yep. Sir, I randomly got sent this link. What is this supposed to be? This is a lecture. This is computer science intro programming class. Uh-oh. Remember us when you make the big bucks. Yes, of course. So, I don't know who was giving the links out, but there's actually a reason that we have the there's a reason that we have the lectures set up as unlisted videos as opposed to like the just regular public videos. When I used to run them as public videos, but then the channel got too big, I guess, and I started getting like actual traction inside of the YouTube recommendation algorithm. So I ended up with like a whole bunch of people in the class who aren't actually in the class, and we're sort of diluting the chat with all kinds of stuff that's not related to the class. So it's my effort to try to constrain the people in the chat to the people who are actually taking the class, who are the people that the classes are actually for. That's kind of how it goes, I suppose. Do I mean the lectures are recorded when it becomes in person and posted to Avenue to Learn? Yes! Will there be a giveaway at 1,000 subscribers? No! I have nothing to give you. So I prevented myself from achieving fame. Yes, I did. In the interests of a better student learning environment, that's how dedicated I am to your learning. But anyway, so Avenue will also contain your official gradebook. So if you're wondering what the marks are, that's Avenue as well. Nothing to give apart from knowledge and marks. Whoops. Yes. Okay. So Discord. Boy, I'm not giving away my bow ties. How dare you suggest that, Amy? So Discord. In contrast to lots of classes which have unofficial Discords, this class has an official Discord. The TAs, who are crack programmers, have set up all kinds of bots and things to make the Discord server function a little bit more like Piazza. Wow, really? 985 subscribers? Really? I gotta check that. I gotta see this. Let's see. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. Oh, 987. We're 13 away, folks. Ha. So. Good. Keep subbing. So, so the Discord server has been set up. Basically, this is like a question-answer type thing. If you have any questions about any of the assignments, or you want to get into contact with a TA, this will be the mechanism of access that is... Whoa! Did we just hit it? Oh, no! Okay, I gotta refresh the page. Yay! Oh, my goodness. We hit 1,000 subscribers! It would not have been possible without you guys. Thank you so much. Fantastic. You guys are amazing. Thank you. How do we register for the bow tie giveaway? Well, you have to wait till the 37th of November, and that's when the submissions open. But, yes! Thank you. Throw a party. Yes. Thank you. All right, so anyway, we need to get through this document. So basically, so Discord is where you ask questions. We'd like to encourage, like, you guys to engage with each other in the answering of questions. And so as to sort of encourage people to, you know, be a little bit more participatory when it comes to, like, the group process of knowledge generation that is hypothetically this class. Yeah, okay, fine. I'll take the bow tie off and I'll hang it here, and that'll be the bow tie giveaway. You'll see it in the video every once in a while. So, so the top 3 people who ask questions will receive an extra 2% on their final grade, and the top 3 people who give answers will also receive an extra 4% on their final grade. So answers are more valuable than questions, but you can still get marks for asking good questions. Now, the thing about this is, in order to, like, prevent spamming and that sort of thing, these questions must be endorsed by either myself or one of the TAs. There's no reward for spamming, and so basically the person with the top 3 people with the most endorsed questions and the most endorsed answers will get some extra marks. So this is us trying to, trying to encourage things a little bit. Where are the questions supposed to be asked? On the Discord. Sign up for the Discord, everyone. So let's talk about Jupyter Hub. How are the questions tracked? Presumably using scripts. So we also have Jupyter Hub. So Jupyter Hub is a server that's run by the department that allows us to convey to you questions, and you can answer them. It's really cool, actually. It's kind of like you get a PDF document that has all of the problems that you'll be working on, and over the course of this course, you'll answer about 100 programming problems between all of the assessments. But you can code right in the document, right? So it's like you get a question, you have a little box that you put your answer in, and then you can actually run that code right in the document, which is kind of cool, and see what your output is. So if the Jupyter link isn't working for anybody, we have a whole raft of debugging and otherwise, troubleshooting advice. If you're having a lot of trouble, get in contact with one of the TAs. They'll be able to set you out. Will we be learning Python? Yes, this is a course in programming Python. How are we going to verify the identity of people in Discord? That seems like a question for the TAs. You have to use the VPN. Yes. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's an important thing to note. So, very, very important. In order to actually get access to this URL, You have to be VPN'd into the school. Hopefully everybody after the last year knows how to do that. So, yeah, there we go. Textbook, I'm getting to it. What is my favorite language? Let's leave this for, we'll leave that for another time. Perhaps the end of class you can ask me again. Oh, thank God it's Python. Yeah, well, so, if you don't know how to get onto the VPN, there's a link right here that'll take you to the UTS website where you can access the VPN software. So if you don't know how to do that, there are the instructions for you. If you want to get the Anaconda distribution, that will actually be a thing that you have to do as of assignment 2. Yeah, that's you'll need that at some point eventually, so you should probably get working on that. Don't worry too much about it if you don't have that yet, or you had difficulty getting it working. Essentially, one of the purposes of the first tutorial, which happens next week, is to get you guys up to date and up to speed on all of the relevant pieces of software. So, don't worry if this is a lot of information all at once. We're going to take it easy. I'm just, this is the purpose of the first class, is to throw all of this information at you. So, ooh, that's a good question, actually. Is this course difficult for people with no prior coding experience? Difficult, but not impossible. Yes. So, a lot of you will find, when it comes to coding skill, there are people who already know exactly what they're doing, who will be in this class, and there are people who are starting right from the very beginning stages. So, it's important, if you're an absolute beginner at coding, it's important not to get discouraged by looking at the other people in the class and saying, oh my gosh, this person already knows Python so well. How am I ever going to catch up with them? And the answer is well, probably you won't over the course of this class, because this person, you don't know, they may have been doing Python since they were 7 years old. There will be people like that in this class. All of these people, if you have a good deal of Python experience, just shout out in the chat. That being said, the course takes you from the very, very beginning of the beginning in coding, right? So we are going to build your skills up from 0. That being said, the course moves quickly. I get the impression that people think with a lot of courses, the first few weeks are kind of you don't have to necessarily pay attention very, very intently. Hello World does not count. You have to be better at it than that. So, starting from the very beginning of the beginning of the beginning, if you're a newcomer to programming, it's going to be absolutely critical that during the first 3 to 4 weeks of this class, so the first month-ish, it's going to be critical that you, A, come to class and pay attention in class. That's true throughout the semester, but particularly in the first month. B, it's going to be extremely useful for you to try some of the supplementary sort of practice exercises that are linked to on Avenue. In particular, I think Coding Bat is particularly good. So try, do extra exercises, right? Do the assignments, obviously, and hopefully that'll put you on a good path to doing well in the rest of the course. This course does have a bit of a difficulty curve. By the time we get, a couple of weeks post the spring break, or the mid-semester recess, we're going to be going into stuff that, if you didn't build yourself a solid foundation in January, you're going to have a lot of difficulty come March. Let's put it that way. So, please, please, please take this course seriously. Programming is difficult. There's a reason that people get paid to do it, right? A lot of people sort of, I get this impression that it's kind of popular these days for, people to sort of pick up a language as a hobby. You know, it's like, oh, this summer I'm going to learn Italian, and that, you know, oh, this summer I'm going to pick up a bit of Python. It's like, if you're here, like, just to kind of, you know, pick up a very tiny amount of programming, this may not be the course for you. Because this is a serious course for serious people who actually want to use programming to do stuff, like, in real life. So, yeah, basically. On Avenue, where do we find the extra exercises? They're under extra resources. So yeah, so that's roughly speaking how things are going to be going. So lecture schedule, I'm assuming everybody knows. So we should talk about the business with the pandemic. If you haven't gotten the if you didn't get the email from the dean and the vice provost and all of those higher ups that went out last week, this is what's happening. This week is online. Next week is online. The week after that is online. So it's going to be the 31st that first year classes are going back in person. So that includes this one, right? I imagine there are lots of you who aren't first year students. So far, no distinction has been made to me that, you know, if you're a first-year student, that, you know, if you're not a first-year student, you're not supposed to be on campus. They've seemed to have divided it up by course level rather than your program level. So, yeah. Is there a baby? Yes, there is a baby. Felix, he's the kid. You might hear him occasionally in the stream. Probably pretty frequently, actually. Will you have to use calculus? No, calculus is not a prerequisite of this course. You may have the occasional question that sort of is tangentially related to mathematics, linear algebra, or geometry, or some things of that nature, just because mathematics and programming are very related things. But no, you're not expected to use, you're not expected to use integrals without without explaining what they are, right? If we want you to do some calculus, it will be very thoroughly explained. So with respect to the pandemic, the indications thus far are that this class will resume in-person scheduling as of the 31st of January. Personally, I would reserve the idea in my brain that it's possible that in-person classes may be delayed further than that, as the ongoing evolving situation ongoes and evolves. But you know, at the moment, that's the plan. If something else happens, we'll have to just deal with it at that point. So, if we are having them in person, it'll be in JHE 376. Yeah. So everything, yep. That's all good. So tutorials, you should be assigned a tutorial. We're going to be having a virtual tutorial as well. One of the first things we'll do is we'll set up a poll for when Mark is available to give the virtual tutorial. We'll do like whichever slot the majority of you can make, and that'll be it. But it'll be recorded anyway, so if you can't make that slot, you can still watch the recording. The tutorials themselves will not be recorded, but the virtual tutorial will be recorded, so there will be a tutorial which has been recorded, which you can see. So I have a few questions. If it's possible for you guys to continue to stay online. One of my goals this semester is to continue the sort of hybrid operation, which was last semester. I'm partially doing this out of like an abundance of caution with respect to, you know, let's just say in the winter of 2020, I was forced to pull everything online at very short notice, and I'm not going to be caught with my pants down twice. So we're going to set this course up so that you can take it virtually if you choose to, but if you would prefer to be in person, which, quite frankly, if there is any in-person teaching, my recommendation is that you take advantage of it while you can. If you want to come in person, come in person. If you want to come virtually, come virtually. Just make sure that you keep up with all of the work and stuff. You're all adults. I don't have to spoon feed you. That's university. Yes. Yes. There's something in the chat about people having vaccination statuses, whether, you can stay online if you're unvaccinated. Yes, you can stay online regardless as to whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. And no, not all students were unenrolled for not being vaccinated. As I understand it, the university maintained a policy of giving some exceptions to some people for medical reasons and stuff. So, and I don't know, to my knowledge, the university hasn't said anything about requiring booster shots. So, yeah. I'm really probably not the guy to talk to about that. But anyway, there's going to be a virtual tutorial. Prerequisites, anti-requisites. So let's talk about what this course actually is, right? So, by the end of this course, students, that is you, will have a basic working knowledge of the Python programming language, and by extension, imperative and object-oriented programming languages in general. 2, a knowledge of Python sufficient for scaffolding further exploration of programming as a skill. That is to say, you're getting your foot in the door. 3, learn how to organize, write, document, and test medium-sized programs. 4, you should have an awareness of the limitations of computation. 5, you should have the ability to bring an informal problem statement into a computational formulation. That is to say, you need to be able to solve a math problem. Basically, if you like word problems, great, because this class is all word problems. Every problem in this class is a word problem. The ability to apply algorithmic techniques for solving complex problems. Basically, break it down and reconstruct it in a manner that makes sense. International students can apply for an exemption. Yeah. I noticed in your channel there are lectures from previous semesters and last year's. Could you watch those to catch up? I mean, so yeah, you can watch them if you like. I would say it's more useful to keep up with this semester's lectures because, things do change a little bit from semester to semester. And if you want the opportunity to ask me questions or hear the questions that are being asked right now, this is I would recommend watching this semester's live streams. So, can we get a job at Google with this? I think that you would probably need a little bit more to get a job at Google. Just a little bit. So, good. Now to the part everybody's been waiting for. Felix says Felix is a fantastic name. Oh yeah, I think you might be a little bit biased there, but I agree. I like the name. My wife liked the name too, and that was more important. I had a lot of duds. Anyway, so assignments will be worth 40% of your final grade. We're going to have 2 tests, each one worth 15%. In total, they'll be worth 30% of your final grade, and the final examination will be worth 30% of your final grade. All evaluations in this course are individual in nature. No group work will be assigned. All assessments in this course will use Jupyter Notebooks. There are 2 ways to get and complete the assessments. Number 1, you get them through the Jupyter system. Number 2, you can also get them through Avenue. The TAs will demonstrate to you how this works, but essentially part of the problem we have with the Jupyter system is sometimes the VPN can be a little unreliable, and like if you're like in a remote part of Ontario that doesn't have good internet or something, or a remote part of the world. I say Ontario because, like, in theory, everybody should be in province this semester. But, you know, who the heck knows, right? At any rate, if your internet isn't good, it's sometimes difficult to maintain a VPN connection. So, as an alternative, you can download the notebook files yourself from Avenue, fill them out using a local installation of Jupyter, which you can get from the Anaconda distribution, which was mentioned previously, and you can sort of fill them out independently without need of internet access. So it's, yeah, basically it means that you can do your assignment without the internet, which you need the internet twice, once to download the assignment and once to upload the assignment. But aside from that, you don't actually need the internet to do the assignment, you know, assuming you don't need help or anything from the Discord server. But anyway, the TAs are going to talk about that in tutorial, so yeah, don't worry about it too much. So, assignments will be written using the online learning platform Jupyter Hub. The assignments are designed to reinforce the material presented in lecture as well as tutorials. Completion of these assignments on an individual basis is essential to your success in this course. So programming is a skill. You only get a skill with practice, so if you don't practice, you won't get the skill. If you don't do the assignments, then you won't pass the course. Because you'll get to the test and you won't know what you're doing, and you know, everything from a top-level perspective, everything was completely predictable. So, there will be 10 weekly assignments for this course. Late submissions will not be accepted. Assignments will be due Sundays at midnight. So we have so each week there's an assignment, and you have to submit it by Sunday midnight the week that you're working on the assignment. Assignments will often contain bonus questions, which are more difficult in nature. The bonus grades that you get from an assignment are restricted to assignments, so they won't spill over into the test or the exam. Same thing for the tests and the exams. There will be 2 midterm tests. The tests will be in take-home format and distributed through Jupyter Hub. They are open book, but collaboration between students on test questions will not be tolerated. You will have 24 hours to complete each test. The tests will be cumulative. The tests also feature bonus questions, but the total amount your test grade can contribute to the final grade is capped at 30%, etc., etc. And the exam will be done in the same manner as the tests. It'll also be 24 hours take-home format, distributed electronically. And if you're thinking, ooh, this means that it'll be easy to cheat, don't cheat. Because I'll catch you, and you won't like the consequences. Can you ask questions while doing the test? Yes, absolutely. So during the test, the Discord server will be open for you to ask questions of the TAs. These, the kind of, the mental process here is, if you were writing a test in person, there would be invigilators walking around, and you'd be able to put your hand up and say, "Excuse me, does this question mean this?" And the invigilator would come along and say, "Well, I can't interpret the question for you, but I can rephrase it." And that, so that's kind of like a functionality that's typically missing during a online test. So we're putting that back in by allowing you to go on the Discord server and ask the TAs questions during the test. That's how we're going to solve that problem. But yeah, so some of you may have, one of you comments, thank God we don't have to write code by hand. Yeah, like when you're talking about programming code, basically it's like, in my estimation, it's kind of unreasonable to expect someone to be able to write code without having the compiler tell them if it's, if it type checks or not, In addition, because it's an open book test, you're free to use certain online stuff like, the Python documentation and possibly even Stack Overflow if you're having like a very specific question. Of course, the thing that you can't do is you can't collaborate with any of your any of your colleagues. Pardon me. And you can't copy code off the internet and submit that as your solution. That is plagiarism. So, yeah, but we're going to talk about plagiarism a little bit. So, extension and late submission policy. Invoking an MSAF for an assignment results in a 3-day due date extension for that assessment. So that would make it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at midnight, right? Invoking an MSAF for a test puts the weight of the test on the final. What is Stack Overflow? Oh, my goodness. You'll find out. It's like the best thing ever. How can you... so for questions about how to get onto all of these things, I'm going to leave that for the TAs because I got to keep moving on this. So, for the final exam, standard university policy will be applied, i.e. the policy on deferred examinations. MSAFs must be submitted online. If you require an accommodation beyond the scope of an MSAF-related policy, please email the instructor. Be advised that the instructor reserves the right to ask questions and make a determination about further exemptions based on the answers provided. So, like, I'm not an ogre, If you've... like, if early in the course you fall down the stairs, break your leg, have to use an MSAF, and then later on in the course you fall down the stairs, break your other leg, and you don't have an MSAF left, talk to me, we can figure things out. It's like Reddit, but the people on it don't actually know what they're talking about. So with respect to the timeline, this is a brief overview of the topics and the assignments and when they're due and when the tests are, right? So we've got the first test the week after reading week and the second test the first week of April. No, last week of March. The topics in this course we'll be covering: introduction, programming and expressions, statements and control flow, structured data types, functions, abstraction and recursion, numerical computation, testing and exceptions, object-oriented programming, twice, permanent memory interaction, graphing, time and databases, machine learning, and we sometimes don't get to the machine learning because the rest of it takes so long. Do tutorials start this week or next week? Well, we're week 1, and it says no tutorials. So no, tutorials start next week. So, good. This is when the tests are. So, basically, if you're ever wondering when something is, please just look at the syllabus before asking one of us, because it's all there. You just have to know where to look for it. So, for individuals with testing accommodations, extra time will be allocated in accordance with your accommodation plan. Students requiring accommodation must be registered with the Office of Student Accessibility Services. Accommodation testing will be performed in accordance with the relevant McMaster policy documents. If you're an SAS guy or gal or whatever, please submit your paperwork. Don't wait until the middle of the semester to submit your paperwork. I mean, we'll still take it, obviously, but it just helps to get it out of the way up front. So if you're an SAS student, please get that paperwork in. Since the tests are cumulative, what can we expect to be different on the final versus test 2? Well, generally speaking, the test 2 will not cover the stuff that's taught the week of the test. So, you know, and it depends on how much time it takes to get to file I/O. That might be covered mainly in week 12. So, there'll be like a cutoff point that's obvious once we get there. But yeah, it'll be like the last 2-3 weeks will be in addition. But you know, if your question is there going to be a large degree of overlap between test 2 and the final, the answer is yes. So, good. So, textbook. The textbook is John V. Guttag, Introduction to Computation and Programming Using Python with Applications to Understanding Data, 2nd edition, MIT Press, 2016. Optional textbook, very good read, not required for the course. This one is also not required. I haven't actually looked that one up. This one is a good read, but you know, only if you're the type of person who actually reads the textbooks. So, if you want assistance, Discord first. That'll have the fastest response times. Second, ask a TA. Third, email a TA. Fourth, talk to me. We're running Discord for the first time this semester. In previous semesters, we run it through Piazza, which is a different sort of external thing. If you last semester, the average response time for a question asked on the Piazza forum was something like 2 minutes, which I thought was absolutely amazing, and it was primarily because we had this thing where students were being more, you know, answering questions a bit more. Yeah, anyway. Good. So, let's talk about academic integrity. Please know that this is a course where we actually do check, and when we find academic dishonesty, we actually do prosecute it, and prosecute it to the full extent of the relevant McMaster policies. I don't know why, but last semester, we had a very sharp uptick in the amount of academic dishonesty that we had coming from students. And we ended up convicting something like 31-32% of the class. So 3 out of every 10 students walked away from 1MD3 last semester with an academic dishonesty conviction. A number of these students were currently in the process of going through the work of second offense processes and paperwork. So, please, we're tired. We're hungry. We don't want to do any more academic dishonesty paperwork. We had so many. We had like 70 people last semester that we processed for academic dishonesty. It was a Herculean task. I was supposed to graduate last semester, but I didn't because of academic dishonesty, in some small part at least. I was also teaching 3 courses that semester, but, you know, I'm still gonna blame it for that. So, do not cheat. All right? It's you're responsible to know what cheating is. But I can give you a couple of pointers. Number 1, do not share your code with anyone. Period. For any reason. Number 2, do not work with your computer next to someone else's computer. You know, looking over, typing, that's also plagiarism. Number 3, do not use Chegg. So some of you may be using a tutoring, quote-unquote tutoring website called Chegg. What tutoring means to them is you give them a problem and they give you the solution. And a lot of people think that they think, oh, well, I'll just submit the Chegg solution as my solution. Let me tell you something. The programmers on Chegg aren't very good programmers. They solve questions in weird manners. And they, like, they're very bad. They're very poor programmers. So when you copy from Chegg, it's like super stupidly obvious that you copied from Chegg. And academic dishonesty conviction. Like, please don't make us convict you. We don't want to, but we will if we have to. Yeah. We have lots of tutors. We have, the TAs are all very friendly people. You don't have to pay someone else for tutoring. Like, well, you know, the university has, like, tutors that you can pay for, like, an hour with a tutor, that kind of thing. Like, that kind of thing, that's one thing, right? Especially if they have previous TA experience, like some of them do, I know. That's one thing. Pulling your answer off of the internet and submitting it as your own will get you a conviction. So this is what happens when you get an academic dishonesty conviction, right? On the first conviction, you get a 0 for whatever you cheated on, however much that's worth, and however many things you cheated on, because we often find that when people cheat, they cheat on multiple things, right? So you can blow out, I've had people who blew out like a good, 60 or 70% of their grades just by cheating. And so, yeah, like, so you lose the marks on whatever you cheated on, obviously. The incident gets recorded with the Office of Academic Integrity so that we know if you're on any higher conviction level. On your second offense, you fail the course outright with transcript notation. So something will appear on your permanent transcript that says, grade of F assigned for academic dishonesty. Try explaining that one to an employer. All right? And if it's three convictions, that's suspension or expulsion. We actually do check. Look in my eyes. Look in my eyes. I am deadly serious about this. All right? If you cheat, I will catch you, and you won't like the consequences. Again, 30% of the class last semester. Think about it. You think that you won't get caught? Let me tell you, you'll get caught. So, yeah, I'm deadly serious. Yeah. Yeah, the ring light's built into the camera. Good. Good. If you're scared, if that scared you, good. Then you won't cheat, right? There's other various boilerplate stuff, I suppose. Expectations of student conduct. You are expected to conduct academic accommodation for students with disabilities. Please talk to SAS. Requests for relief for missed academic work. That's the MSAF policy. Academic accommodation for religious, indigenous, or spiritual observances. So I tend to set my tests on Saturdays. If you're for example Jewish, for you that's Sabbath. So you're not supposed to do anything on Sabbath. So if you're in that situation, please talk to me and we'll work out an accommodation that works. So yeah. What is the line between using Stack Overflow and cheating? If you're using it to clarify a concept, right? That's one thing. If you're copying code from it, that's a problem, right? Yeah. So, copyright and recordings. Students are advised lectures, demonstrations, performances, and other course material provided by an instruction, including copyright protected works, blah, 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 blah. So basically, if you have a problem with the fact that your chat is now in a chat log that's accessible, please understand that by posting to the chat log, you're giving up the rights you have to your thoughts. But yeah. What if your test is on your best friend's birthday? That doesn't count. Sorry, no accommodation there. Extreme circumstances. Everything in this document is subject to change without notice and notice without change. Online participation disclaimer. So yeah, if you're using Discord, Discord has access to your stuff, but I imagine a lot of you are on Discord anyway. But yeah, any questions? That's the course. What am I drinking? I'm drinking orange Picot tea from a tea bag that I've re-soaked with hot water for the third time. I reuse tea bags. You have the full 24 hours to do the test or exam. Yeah. So it's not like one of these things where, when you log in, you have 3 hours to do it or anything like that. You get the full amount of time. You get as much time as you want within the 24-hour window. Do you need to do anything before your next class? No, just come to the next class. See if you can get Anaconda installed, but if you can't, don't worry about it too much because that's tutorial next week. I'm assuming we are required to bring our own laptops when we eventually attend in-person lectures. You can bring whatever you want to lecture. If you want to follow, like I do a lot of code examples on the board, so if you want to follow along with coding, it's very useful to have a computer with you. And, you can get away with a tablet for a lot, but not programming. Bring something with a keyboard. When is your first assignment due? January 30th. How long, on average, would it take to actually complete the test? Mileage may vary. I get people who finish the tests in like an hour and a half. I get people who take 16 hours to do them. It depends on how well you studied. Well, don't bring anything to lecture. Like, don't bring a giant Trojan horse filled with jelly beans, because you'll just have difficulty getting it into the lecture hall. If we don't get to machine learning, will there be content for you to review? Yeah. Like, the slides are still up. It's just, like, often, like, especially this semester, because you guys are, like, the non-comp sci class, so there's a much higher proportion of people in this class who've never programmed before than typically in the previous semester. Often it will take more time to get through the introductory material, because I try to go at a pace that's actually for the student rather than just cram everything down your throat and hope it works. But, yeah. Can you bring lunch to class? Yeah. You can't bring lunch into a lab, but a lecture isn't a lab. Yeah, you can totally eat a sandwich while I'm talking to you. Do I play League? I do not. Is the textbook necessary for students with no coding experience? I think that the textbook isn't necessary, but it would be it's helpful for getting the idea of how to program from a sort of a higher level. But I'm not gonna make you buy it. Basically, is Anaconda an IDE? It's a bunch of things. It's a package that includes a few IDEs as well as the Python compiler and a bunch of other like tools and stuff as well. Thank you. Oh. That'll be my son playing with his toys. So. Good. Okay. So much more faith now that I don't play League. Oof. Are you able to do well in the course without the textbook? I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes. Do I play Minecraft? Sometimes. I haven't in some time. I haven't had much time for playing anything since Felix came into the world, to be honest with you. What's the hardest concept in this course? Object-oriented programming. We did some programming on R for stats in 2B03. How would you compare that to this course? It's like a different world. R and Python are very, very different languages. So a small amount of what you learned in R might be applicable, but most of it won't be. Do I play Dead by Daylight? No. Do I play CSGO? No. Favorite programming language? Well, it depends. I really like Haskell. Do I stream? I'm streaming right now. What are you talking about? Which games do I love to play? Well, my wife and I have been playing Kingdom 2 Crowns lately, and that's really good. Very pretty game. How old is Felix? 9 months. We should make a class MC server. You guys can do that, and I probably won't have time. When is my birthday? That's very personal. I probably have class on my birthday, actually. Let me see here. Actually, I don't. And that's all the information you're getting. The most coding I got is Visual Basic. Ugh. Well, I mean, some coding is better than no coding, you know? Roblox? No, I've never played Roblox. R is situational. Yeah, so R is what we call a DSL, or domain-specific language. It's really just for statistics, and it does statistics really well, but it's not what you would call a general-purpose programming language. Python, C++, C, Java, C#, Haskell, all of these are general-purpose programming languages. So learning a general-purpose programming language is, you know, it's a different kettle of fish. Let's just put it that way. Setup tour? I've actually, like, I screwed the webcam to the wall, so I'd need a screwdriver to give you one. Haskell is cool. Thank you. So, does my wife like the bow ties? I assume so. If she didn't, she would have, like, taken them all out into the backyard and burned them by now. Alright. I think that's it. Unless there are any further questions. I'm gonna say thank you very much for coming, and get out of here. Get off my lawn. PC specs. Oh, it's one of the Asus Tough books from last year. It's the A15, so you can look up the specs. When lectures become in person, will they be recorded as well? Indeed, they will. I will use a TA and a camcorder. Well, I will ask a TA to use a camcorder to record the lectures. Although R and Python are different styles, would you say the general idea of solving problems and codes are similar? No, actually, I wouldn't. The way that you go about solving a problem in R is quite different from how you go about it in Python. Yeah. Take care. Congrats on 1K. Thank you so much, folks. Like, you're my favorites. Where did I study? Oh, I've been at McMaster for, like, a very long time. I did my bachelor's degree here in mechatronics engineering. I mean, I can show you this thing because it's on an armature. This is my microphone. But yeah. Yeah, it's like, if you were to actually see my setup, you'd probably be disappointed. It's like cheap stuff. Like this microphone only cost me like $200, I think. It was on sale. But yeah. Would C++ and C# experience with relation to game development experience be transferable mostly to this course? Oh yeah, like if you've done game development before in either of those courses, you'll probably get this course pretty easily. Have I worked as a mechatronics engineer? Yeah, I worked as a controls engineer for a little bit before I came back to grad school. Less than a year. Have a good one. Take her easy, folks. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. See you on Wednesday.